Hello, everybody. Back again, just to try and help people come into their own balance. Hello to you. I just wait for a few people to come in. I've just this moment finished my voluntary work here on the farm, and it's such a beautiful day. I just want to try and share a few thoughts to help people on their journey find themselves, find their peace, find their harmony, find their joy. So I better put it a bit closer so you can hear me. I just coming on to share just thoughts as they arise, really, in the hope it helps people get really connected to their inner energy, which is their inner power. It is a journey to find that energy inside and that connection to source. You see, the whole of this ascension process, it doesn't matter your culture, where you are in the world, what you believe in, it's all the same in truth. Behind the layers of cultures and belief systems, the journey is actually the same. So you can find all sorts of similarities underlying different cultures, different religions, different belief systems. They all point to the same thing. They just tell it a different way, or maybe focus in a different way, or use different tools, use different words, but actually it's all the same. Underlying it all, it is all the same. It's just different paths home, that's all. So I guess because I always see from the bigger picture perspective, I see above all of that. I see above all the human details that we give to things. And I just see the straightforward journey home, which is actually about balancing ourselves, balancing the four bodies, the physical body, the mental body, the mind, balancing that, balancing the emotions, because we react, so it's the balancing of that, and that all in turn, because it's all happening in different layers of balancing these bodies. You could call it the mind, body, soul. You could call it the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I don't know the Indian phrases, but absolutely you could call it by those phrases. They're all the same thing. So I'm just kind of sharing in case it helps, but this greater perspective is to understand that the whole of the journey into knowing the God within you and living by that connectivity to source, the journey is the balancing of the bodies, the mental, emotional, physical and etherical. There's another way to describe it. It's the cardinal cross. So the symmetrical cross is the one I changed around my neck. So that's just a symmetrical cross. You could call it the balancing of the four winds. You could call it the balancing of the elements. It's all the same thing in terms of our humanness becoming the greater consciousness that we already are and always were. You see, if we look back to when we were born as a baby, or when babies are born, coming from that conscious connection before the birth of that body, that physical body, when the baby is born, it is then sort of suddenly in this physical reality, a physical world of matter, and matter is just condensed light. That's not a belief system that it's condensed light. I actually see everything through these physical eyes as light photons. So there's nothing I don't look at that is not condensed light. It truly is, and science can show that. So when a baby's born, it becomes fascinated by this physical reality of objects, condensed light. Your hand is condensed light. Everything is energy vibrating just to different structures of photon light and how it's formed. Just like water. I know I'm digressing. This is going to be a complete waffle of a live because my mind's everywhere. Truly. There's no linear part of me, I don't think, anymore. So I can't really say things in any order. But take the example of that gentleman, the Japanese gentleman called it, is it Emoto? And he did the study of water, yeah? And showed the crystals and how they react differently to different energetic stimulus. And the crystals changed into being very in disarray, you know, to being formed in the structures. And the greatest, the most beautiful structure of order was love. When it received the frequency of love, the crystal of water could change into a different formation of a crystal. And that's what we're doing, in a way. I mean, that's just an analogy, but it's what we're doing. We're changing our vibration, we're changing our frequency, and we do that by aligning the four bodies. The physical vessel has to come into balance. The mental mind, which is probably the hardest part, has to come into balance. The emotional body, and then the etherical body, the light body. This is why the light body gets activated and activated and activated. The more we raise our frequency, the more we work on ourselves and our human emotions, the more we work with our body, the more the light body, the energetic light field around us, gets activated and activated and activated. And the truth is, it was always there. That light body was always there. It's just our consciousness is changing. So we get to see more and more and more and more. Whether that's the seeing of our light body, or whether it's the seeing via our senses of different layers of reality that actually were always there. And it's just that we couldn't tap into them. We couldn't focus on them. Couldn't see them, hear them. But going back to the baby, do you know, I'll just digress again. There used to be a comedian in England called Ronnie Corbett. You've got to be a certain age to know that. And he used to be on the television, and he's so funny. But he'd tell a story, and he'd always go off on a tangent. And that was part of the funny part, was that he could never stick to the joke. So he'd always start to tell a joke in this television comedy thing. And it'd take him about half an hour to tell this one joke. Because he'd just go off at all these different tangents. But that was part of why it was so funny. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm doing, is going off at tangents. So back to the baby. When the baby's born, it's just in shock, actually, at physical reality, you know, objects. It can't work anything out at first. It doesn't speak at first, obviously, but it's fascinated. Its eyes are fascinated. You know this from looking at babies. They can't stop looking at matter, which is solid light, because they don't know what it is. They're not used to it. You know, in truth, we come from worlds that aren't solid. Our soul is not solid, it's white light. So the baby becomes fascinated by these objects that are made of light, that are solid, and then it starts to feel and touch. What is this? What is that? And then it starts to grow up as a toddler, hears other human beings speaking, goes to school, goes to nursery school, and then it's kind of entrenched then in a physical world in a way. And people can lose the child within them because of the outer reality and their life, the people that they're born around, associate with, so they can lose the child within. But the point I'm trying to make is that human beings from birth start to become fascinated by the material world of solidity. And they listen to society. Listen and listen and listen. Whether that's at school, family, neighborhood, cities, jobs, colleges. And they start to seek happiness outside of themselves. And that's kind of where I'm trying to go with this conversation, is that we seek outside of ourselves. We think, if I just get that job, I will be happy. If I just get that car, it will bring me so much joy and excitement because I love that type of car. That will make me happy. If I can just do this and achieve this, that will make me happy. Another one, when you're in the workplace, if you're in that way of living where you do have to go to work, how many people just live for their holidays? 3 months to go and I'll be on holiday and I will be happy. No. You can be happy in every single moment if you choose it. But it starts inside yourself. Happiness is available to every single human being on the planet now. And now. And now. And now. But it comes from inside you. So that's the analogy I'm trying to make. When we're born, we become fascinated by the outside world, and it takes over the mind. So much stimulation from the outside reality of solidity, of solid light. And then gradually we come to rely on the outside to bring us joy, to bring us peace, to bring us happiness, to bring us excitement. The whole journey of the ascension, if you call it that, is the balancing of the bodies, the balancing of them. And that journey takes you in and in and in and into this central point. And the access to that is through the heart. And what you find on that journey, as you take each step, as you have each experience, is you find and understand, and you come to a knowing. And it's a knowing that will always be with you, is that everything in this solid reality is temporary. It's temporary. So to enjoy the moments that bring you happiness and peace, to find the moments, because every single experience doesn't last. So this is kind of coming on from seeing the geese this morning, that little video, and they were sat there for 10 minutes. I could have ignored them and carried on with my work, but that moment was before me, so I chose to take it and enjoy it in the moment. And that's kind of where I'm trying to point to. is to cherish those moments that you have that bring you joy. Enjoy them, be grateful for them. Because when you are in this energy, and everything is energy, everything is frequency, when you're feeling the energy of gratitude, the way creation works is it brings you more to be grateful for. That's the whole design, even though that design has different layers to it. If you choose to be ungrateful, say in a moment, and we can all do that, we can be totally ungrateful, you're just going to attract more. You'll attract more to be ungrateful for. So the power lies within you. You are the divine creator, and this path takes you into full knowing that you are it. And at a certain point of the path, you know from within you what divine creation is. And divine creation is the alignment, is when you're in complete alignment in all four of the bodies. And that's the difference between human creation that feels disconnected to God, to Source, and divine creation that is connected to God or Source. So that's these layers of how we create. And it's all linked, even though I'm waffling and talking about different subjects, it's all linked together. If you want to be happy, you have to be happy first. You have to go within, go into yourself, and be happy first. And then, because you are the creator, whether you're in forgetfulness or not, whether you're connected or not, by being happy, you're then actually creating from your consciousness, you're creating more things to be happy about. And to just enjoy those moments of happiness as they arise, as they come to you, because they are temporary. So back to sort of this idea that, if I just buy this car, just as a simple example, I can't think of anything else, but if I just buy this car, I'm going to be happy because it will give me so much pleasure and joy and excitement, and I'll have it, and I've saved hard for it. Yes, it could possibly give you so much joy, but it won't last. It'll soon be taken for granted. That initial excitement will fade. Why? Why? Because it's not the car that makes you happy. It's you. You make you happy. If I just get this house, I will be happy. No, you may be. You may enjoy the house. You may appreciate the house. But it's not the house that makes you happy. It's you. It's inside of you that makes you happy. Your emotions make you happy. Do you see? But I appreciate, and this is kind of, I'm giving some information about how everything works energetically, but what I'm really trying to do is help you come back into your own power in times when you're not happy, when you are sad, when you are frustrated, when you're fed up. I'm going to try and just help you in a basic way. There's a starting way. You can start with the little things. So say you're having a day and the emotions are coming, and you reach that point where you just can't cope with the thoughts and the emotions in your head, say, there is a way out. You just start at that basic point, and that is just to change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. Do this simple thing in that moment of changing your thoughts. So if you're thinking about something that is upsetting you, and it's just spiraling in your head, and you can't get out of your head, and you may even be getting worse and worse and worse, think about what you're going to have for dinner that night instead. Think about the joy of the birth of one of your children. Remember, have that memory, bring that in. Think about an animal. Think about a day that you're looking forward to. Think about a loved one that you just love so much. So in other words, just change that thought straight away. Go off the subject that's causing you to spiral and get upset, and just change the thought completely. Change the subject in your head, and that's your starting point. Consciously change the subject, or put some music on, or dance, but do something to completely change the subject of whatever thought it is that's arising in your head. Yeah, and that's your starting point. It's not the answer, but it is the starting point to lifting your mood. And then when you've got fed up with that subject about thinking about the cat, then think of another subject or another person or another event that is also joyful if you think about it. And so go from one subject to another subject. Just be aware of your thoughts and change them. And that's the starting point. It's the easy point to do. Anybody can do it. It's not the answer, but at least it helps you stop spiraling in thoughts that can be distressing, upsetting. Oh my God, the geese are coming back. Do you know what? I don't believe this. So the geese, I'd been working here, and the geese went all the way over to the other side of the farm, and I come back on, and I don't know if you can see them. Oh, I don't know what I'm pointing at, but they're right back at the wheelbarrow. I heard this noise, I didn't know what it was. Anyway, the point is, if you're struggling with your thoughts, if you're on a downer one day and you just can't stop thinking about whatever it is, just be aware of it and change the subject in your head, and that way you will lift your spirits. And then change the subject again if you run out of things to think about something nice on that subject. Just change the subject again to the simple things, and that's just a starting point. Yeah, because if you can lift your energy, if you can come back into a balanced state, then whatever problem is arising in your life, in your self-created reality, you'll be able to deal with it from a balanced state, instead of dealing with things from a reactionary state, from an over emotional state. And I do want to talk about that a little bit, just to explain what happens in an energetic way. If we make choices from a state of imbalance, bearing in mind that everybody's journey is back to reconnection to the source that always was their connection. Yeah, so this whole life experience is about an idea, an experience of disconnection, but it never was. It's just that's the experience of it, until we remember and remember and remember, and we become connected again and live from that connection to God in each and every single waking moment. It's always there, it never goes away. So, what was I saying? I've totally lost my train of thought now. But when we react and make decisions or take actions from a place of imbalance, so from a place of upset, from a place of stress, worry, maybe from a place of fear, when we make choices, decisions from those emotions, or maybe we get angry and we make a choice from that place of anger, say, it's not the balance, it's not the center point, yeah? It's not the center point that we eventually end up at on our journey and then remain always connected. So the way the lighted design of this creation works, if we make those choices from an imbalanced, energetic state, the lighted design, people could call it the universe. This has got to watch that they don't bite me on the bum any moment now, but I'm not worried. So the lighted design of the universe, if you like, is going to show us in another moment that our choice wasn't balanced. I am going to have to look because he's right behind me. Oh, bless them. They're going back to the water. Okay. So if we make a choice, if we make a decision, if we take an action from an imbalanced state of mind, the way the lighted design, or you could call it the universe, is created, is it will then bring back to us another similar situation, and I stress the word similar, another similar situation for us to choose again in a more balanced way. I hope that makes sense. So in other words, we're always being taught by the experiences presented to us, and it's just a question of where we're reacting from and making our choices from. Are we making our choices from a place of balance and neutrality, or are we making our choices and actions based on imbalance and polarity? So when we make the choices from imbalance or polarity, because it's all the same thing, Creator, God, Source, will then deliver another circumstance to us to point it, it's pointing at us to say, choose again, choose from a more balanced place. And so this is why we have recurring patterns in our life, because we don't tend to see it first. We don't tend to see our own inner patterns of what we're attracting back to us. And in sort of some cultures they call that karma. I don't really call it karma. I don't really call it anything, to be honest, because I don't study cultures. But I know how it works from an energetic point of view, because that's my path. Is I always get shown how energy, how light works, how creation works. So I was shown those layers of lighted design, and they're so complex. But this is why when we see our own pattern, we will see that we could be in a very similar situation again and again and again, but the same reaction, should I say, again and again and again within us, but via different people, different circumstances, different decades of our life, we can find that we will have reacted the same way. And so we see these experiences repeating via different people, different situations, different experiences, but our reaction tends to be the same. And that's the point where we realize that it's our pattern, because the universe is always trying to expand us. It's trying to get us to see. It's trying to get us to see our own reactions and then change the reaction. And the ascension is all about having less imbalanced reaction, and so we come more and more and more as we journey forward, more and more and more into a balanced reaction. And when we reach that balanced reaction and sustain it by things that appear to us, because everything's always moving, there'll always be something more, but when we sustain that balanced reaction, there's more after that. The balanced reaction is very, very neutral, because you've balanced your 4 bodies. And so you reach this state of neutrality to everything outside of you, because you're the observer. You've become that observer of the reality outside of you. And so if you think about when the child is being born, the child becomes fascinated with the solid reality, and the ascension in effect takes us back to being fascinated by the inner reality. So we came from the inner reality, in a way you could say. We were born into the world, we became fascinated by the outer, and then the ascension draws us inner to the inner reality. So we become less reactive to the outside world, because our world comes from within us. And it's there that we start to see and really know and understand that we truly have been the creators of our reality all along. We just didn't know it, we forgot it. You know, and the design of time in this reality doesn't help. I mean, it does help. It helps source because it makes us forget more. You know, we don't see instantly what we're attracting back to us. We don't see it instantly. So we can have a reaction today to something, an imbalanced reaction, and then next week something will happen because of time, you see. So we don't tend to connect the dots because of time, and that actually helps in the whole of this experience to be forgetful. Because if we reacted a certain way and we instantly got our payback, so to speak, we'd soon learn the lesson, wouldn't we? Because it would be so instant that we'd understand. But then there wouldn't be much of an experience for Source. And it is all about Source wanted to experience itself through you, through everybody, and experience what it is like to forget itself by varying degrees. What is it like for God to forget itself and then remember itself within you and within you and within you? And one by one, as people remember that connection and live by that connection, breathe by that connection, where these 4 bodies are balanced, the 4 winds, the 4 directions, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's all the same. That connection to the divine becomes all the time, every moment, every single moment. And it's from that connection, that centered point, that you are connected to in every single moment, together with the balance of your light body, your mental body, your physical body and your emotional body, they all then work as one. All the four bodies work as one, with the connection remembered, sustained in every single waking moment to God, which is what was always there. It's God seeking itself again and again and again through you. So I leave it there because my battery is now low. So to just remember that you have that ability, that willpower within you to change your thought in any moment, and that's a really good starting point to change your mood, lift your spirits and how you feel. And then when you're in a higher spirit, a higher state of mind, a more balanced place within you, that's the best time. The only time, actually, if you don't want to attract more stuff that you don't want. That's the only time to then make your balanced choices, decisions about your life and your life experiences. It's to make it in balance. And then you won't attract back more stuff that you're unhappy about. It helps you make the highest choice. And always, obviously, to look at whatever it was that may be causing you worry or may be triggering you or upsetting you, to always look at that, because that's just a belief system. And once you let go of that belief system by seeing it, you're just lighter. You lift the burden. Such heavy weights everybody carries. Such heavy weights. And when you release them and release them and release them, you just feel lighter and freer and happier within you. Okay, I better leave it there, otherwise we will chop off any moment. Hope that helps somehow. Sorry that I waffled so much, but it's very hard to focus really on. It's just about being now. It's being in the moment. There's no planning, none of that really. It's just about being in the moment and responding to it and living in it. So I hope that helps somehow. God bless you all. I love you with all of my heart, and I always do. And take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.